Hello viewers, welcome back to this YouTube channel. If you are bothered on how to prepare your Siwes technical report, then this video is for you. So for you to get everything on how to prepare your technical report, there are some basics that you should know, and those basics are what I will tell you now before I will walk you through the report I prepared during my own industrial training. Siwes technical report, as the name implies, is a technical report that should be free from any form of embellishment, and it's one of the reports that the students on industrial training are expected to prepare upon their completion of industrial training. Don't forget, if you are on industrial training, you are supposed to take as much pictures as possible because it is very important when you talk about Siwes technical report. This report is subdivided into two. We have the preliminary pages and we have the main pages. All the write-up in technical report are expected to be in a font type New Time Roman, and the font size used in technical report generally is 12 with 1.5 line spacing. In some few cases they use 2.0, and you make sure that your work is justified in both sides. Now, under these preliminary pages, we have the cover page, we have certification, we have dedication, we have abstract, and we also have table of contents. The cover page is the page that comprises your details, your place of attachment, and also the date of the report. In the certification, that is where you tell them that the whole report was prepared from the knowledge you gained during your industrial training and was not copied from anywhere. The dedication, under there you dedicate your work to whomever pleases you. In your abstract is the summary of the whole report, and this abstract is expected not to come in above 7 good sentences. So if you are writing the abstract, it shouldn't go even up to half a page. Then table of contents houses the list of all the topics and the subtopics that you treated in the technical report with their pages. Under it, you have the table of figures and also the tables that appeared in the technical report. Then in the main page, we have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4. In the chapter 1 is all about introduction. It talks about what Siwes is all about, the aim and objective of Siwes, brief history of your place of attachment, and the organogram of your place of attachment. In chapter 2, you have different departments in your place of attachment. You also have the tools, machines, machineries, and equipment you were exposed to during the course of the training. Chapter 3 is the main work, where you share all the experience you gained during the industrial training. It houses all the nature of work you engaged on during your training. Chapter 4 is all about the challenges you faced during the training, your recommendation, your conclusion, and the reference. Now don't forget that in some few cases, these main pages may be extended to chapter 5, but ideal thing is chapter 1 to chapter 4. The preliminary pages are expected to be numbered in Roman numeral, whereas the main pages are numbered in Arabic numeral. Now let's look at how a typical technical report should look like, using the one I prepared during my own industrial training as an example. This is a typical example of how your cover page should look like. You have your school logo, the name of the school, your place of attachment. During my industrial training, I was attached at a Reinforced Global Resources Stras Patan Nigeria Limited. It's actually a joint venture. These are the things that should appear in your cover page. In your certification, you write that the work was prepared by you and not copied from any source. So that's certification for you. After certification comes dedication, and in dedication, you are free to dedicate your work to whoever you want. Then thereafter, you have the abstract. Look at my abstract. It's very brief. It's just a 7 sentence summarizing the whole work I engaged on during my industrial training. My contents. After the contents comes the table of figure. Then after the table of figure is the table. So after that, we go straight to chapter 1. In chapter 1, we have the introduction, and the introduction, don't forget that you are supposed to number this. So my introduction is 1.1. After the introduction, I have the aims and objective of Siwes, which is 1.2. All these numbering, they are very important. For you to make A in this particular course, you must follow all these procedures. Then you have 1.3, which is the importance of Siwes. You have the brief history of the establishment as 1.4. So you just write briefly the history of the company that you were attached to during your industrial training. If they have registration number, you also indicate it, the head office, all the details that you can lay your hand on concerning the company. So after that, you have the organogram of the establishment. So this is the organogram of where I was attached to during my industrial training. Having done that, some persons can decide to write aim and objective of the place of attachment, and also you can decide to have another numbering, maybe after 1.5, like 1.6, to write about justification of your place of attachment. That is where you have to relate the place where you're attached to your course of study, to know how related the both of them are. For example, if you are a medical student, maybe you're studying pharmacy, you're not supposed to be attached in any place or any establishment that is far from what pharmacy is all about. Then in the chapter 2, we have various units or departments in the place of attachment, and that forms your chapter 2. So the various unit is 2.1. Whatever subdivision or other things I'm going to mention under various units in the place of attachment is going to come as 2.1.1.2, just so on and so forth. In the place where I worked, I have the safety unit, the laboratory, the survey, we have the earthwork, we have the batching plant, and we have pavement. Your own may be different from my own, because this is how my own looked like during my industrial training. So you should know how to relate this with what you are saying right there in your place of attachment. After 2.1, we have 2.2, which is machines, machineries that I was exposed to during training. So whatever machine you're going to mention is going to come under 2.2. That is how you number. And don't forget, like I've told you earlier, take as much pictures as possible, because the pictures will help you even in your PowerPoint presentation. You know that sort of presentation, the picture they're going to present must show where you're doing the work in the site or in your place of attachment where you're engaging in one or two activities. So we have the cutting machine, we have the concrete vibrator. So these are the machines, machineries, equipment that I was exposed to during my training. And under chapter 2, I still have 2.4, where I have some important points about pavement. I worked under road construction, so I deemed it fit to explain what pavement is all about. So this particular figure here, I used my hand to extract it to make my work unique and not copy the ones that are on the internet. Try to be creative. 6 unit course is not something to be played around with. So whatever you know you can do to have the grade, go extra mile to do it. After that, we have the chapter 3. Chapter 3 is the main work. All the exposure that I got during the training is what I represented here. Under here you have 3.1, which is processes involved in construction of rigid pavement. So I highlighted the processes and I explained them in a bit. After 3.1, I have a 3.2, and in my 3.2 I have a reinforcement for rigid pavement. Here I explain how rigid pavement is reinforced. This is the layer of the road where I worked on. I used my laptop to sketch this to explain all the reinforcement and how they are being implemented in the site. After reinforcement, I have a 3.3, which is joints in rigid pavement. I explained everything about that, and I also showed picture of where they are located in the site. In this your pictures, you are not supposed to make it too large so that it will not be as if you are using it to cover up spaces. And you know, these your main pages are expected to be at least 25 in number and the maximum of 30 or 35 depending on your institution. After the joints, I will have 3.4, which is the test we conducted during my industrial training. Here I highlighted all the tests that I was exposed to during the training, and this is me in the site performing my normal routine. In 3.5, I have health, safety and environment. Before I resumed work during my industrial training, I was meant to pass through safety classes where I was taught some important safety rules. that all the workers are expected to know. So that is my 3.5. And after that, we have the chapter 4, which is the conclusion, Siwes challenges, recommendation, and reference. So we have that. We have conclusion as 4.1. We have 4.2 as the Siwes challenges. We have recommendation, and finally the reference. This is all about Siwes technical report. If you still want to know how you can prepare your PowerPoint presentation, you can consider subscribing to this YouTube channel so that whenever we drop the video, you will be easily notified. Don't forget that PowerPoint presentation carries 50% of the homework. So for you to make A in this course, you must do very well in your PowerPoint presentation. And doing well in PowerPoint presentation starts with making a good PowerPoint report. So in the next video tutorial, I'll be sharing with you how I was able to make a good presentation.